It is the Al Travis Show, and we always love getting our farming friend in, Jerry Groskreutz, to talk about what's going on in the world of farming. Jerry, how about a little nice rain shower in your neck of the woods? Good for you?
I wouldn't call it a nice rain shower. It would be a nice rain shower in about a month or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it came fast. I mean, it did come down hard. Hail doesn't do anything for you. Everything's under the ground. Hail? Did you get hail in your neck of the woods?
Not that I'm aware of. It was a little farther north. There was some hail. I was up at the state FFA convention earlier this week when the storm was hitting. And a good thing I had my cell phone turned down and silent, but it kept vibrating. My Dick Tracy watch kept vibrating too. Waldorf was in a tornado warning, and Faribault Canyon was in a tornado warning. Hail, other than damaging buildings, wouldn't do much now unless you've got an alfalfa field. That'd be greening up and starting to go do some damage there. But not a bad time for hail, but geez, we've got enough rain for a while now. It's getting a little tough to look at my tractor and planter sitting in the shed.
Okay, and this will take some time. I get that to dry up, but is it overflow? You have water sitting out there, and does it really matter if nothing's planted there yet? It can sit until it goes away, right? I mean, am I wrong?
Well, even where I had some corn planted, the water disappeared fairly fast. I haven't been out since the storm earlier this week, but I was out on Saturday. There was no water standing anywhere. Okay. The tile lines were running. So 1 3/10 inches, hopefully in a day or two, the tile have taken a lot of it, but we need some nice warm sunshine for Al to go golfing with nice green grass and for Jerry to get back out in the field and get the crop planted.
You talk about those tiles running. This is a little side story, but do you get out there with a little rake and keep them moving? Here's my point, Jerry. So that rain comes down like nobody's business. And I look out my backyard, and basically my driveway goes out to the road, as driveways do. But it was all backing up. There was water. I mean, it was a bit of a lake on my neck of the woods where I live in the fine city of Blue Earth. But I know what the problem is. Every now and again, those drain plugs get plugged up, right? Yeah. So Al heads out, puts a cigar in his mouth. Boy, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to fix the neighborhood. Went out there, raked it up. Got it cleaned up and just watched that water go down. There are videos online. I love watching them. And then I look half a block up, Jerry, same thing. But I don't know where that water drain is. So I'm out there puffing my cigar, and half the road is covered with water. And I'm out there raking, and ting! You hear the hitting that metal. Clear that bad boy off. This thing starts going. It's the most satisfying thing ever. Do you go out and with a rake and clean your tiles? That's what you should do. It's fun.
We've got that covered because I do have some open intakes. Do you know what an open intake is?
Yeah, one that's not closed. No, I have no idea.
Like if you've got a lower level, a pothole where water tends to, when you get a heavy rain, it kind of congregates there. So the tile line then comes out to the surface, and then I've got a colored tile put on that with little holes in it, sticking up about 3 feet with a flag. So I don't have to wade out there in my swimming trunks to make sure it's going to drain.
All right. I was just going to throw it. I enjoy it because then you break that thing up and the water goes down. I'm standing there smoking, just watching the whole road drain. And I think I saved my neighborhood yesterday. Yep. People didn't know it. But
you should have had your wife taking a video of you, and you could have put it up on your website. You could have gone viral and been famous.
Oh, see, I miss all these opportunities. I just want to get a cigar and go do something. Other stories to talk about today because I don't understand it. We talk about E15, but that's actually unleaded 88. What is the math issue I'm sitting? E15 I thought would be 85. I mean, I'm just going to call it. How am I, what is it? Okay, here's the story. Minnesota Motors have saved evidently $80 million by using unleaded 88 known as E15. Explain these numbers to me. That's different than using the 87 octane. What is the difference? One.
Let's start back at the basics, just for you, Al.
Thank you.
Our normal gasoline that we had for years had 10% ethanol, and it was 87 was the octane. E85.
How did, wait a minute, no, go back. I got a 62 Ford Fairlane. I use a premium gas. There's no octane in that. How does it?
Well, octane is the measure of oxygenate. Octane. Okay. Yep. And so you're getting confused.
I
with
am.
like the E85. That means 85% ethanol if you've got a flex fuel vehicle,
Okay.
and 15% petroleum. Now, the standard, if you just went in and filled up with regular, the octane would be E87, and that would be 10%. But the E88, the octane of 88, that's
Mm-hmm.
15% ethanol. And my car gets a touch better mileage. Both of my cars, the Waze's Mustang and my Focus, get a little better mileage on the E88 octane than the E87 because the octane is a little bit higher, a little more oxygen, and you get a little bit better fuel mileage.
Okay, so let me ask you this. They say that we saved $80 million by using the 88. Where do they get that number? Because if I'm not mistaken, are we not still subsidizing the making of the ethanol? Nope.
No.
Okay,
Minnesota kind of led the nation, and there was a tax credit for ethanol plants that sunsetted in 10 years. So
okay.
that went away. The reason, and where this article is getting from, it saved Minnesota consumers so much money, is if you'll notice, you being a frugal type, I'm surprised you haven't noticed it yet. E88 is usually 10, 12 cents a gallon cheaper than the E87.
Yeah.
So not only is it a little bit less cost per gallon because ethanol is cheaper than petroleum, and you get a little bit better mileage besides. So that's where the gas saving is coming, because E88 is a touch cheaper than E87.
All right, but the E88, if I'm not mistaken, so maybe I'm missing something, you tell me. That's good winter gas. That's winter gas. It's like winter air in your tires. But then in the summertime, they got to switch the blend back because the blend is all the blended, and I don't have any clue why. But the Trump administration now has said, no, not this year. They gave a waiver to not go back. Why did we go back for so long? And if it isn't bad, why is there a need for a waiver?
Yep, that goes way back to when they were getting ethanol approved. They didn't specifically, quote, get that approved at E15. They approved E10 and E85. They didn't do the work on the E10, and apparently they changed it back in the summertime because the vapor pressure on 15% ethanol is just a touch higher than 10% ethanol. And so they were worried about in the summertime, it's a little warmer, maybe it would vaporize a little bit more. But the research has shown that when you get up close to E15, it's back to the same. And many of the Midwestern states have had the waiver for 2 or 3 years in a row for the summertime. So now what the Trump administration did was just allow it nationwide during the summertime.
All right, well, if 85% of gas then is ethanol and through corn, and we open this market up now all summer long when we bring out our our play toys for the lakes and yada yada, is there enough corn to keep this thing going, Jerry? We're going to be in trouble now, aren't we?
No.
Starvation in the streets, that's what we're looking at.
No. I specifically asked that question when I was down at the Farm Broadcaster Convention last fall, because that's the one thing you could do that would help rural America more and quickly is nationwide go from the standard 10% ethanol to a standard 15% ethanol. Consumers would save a lot of money. It would help corn farmers, and we already have enough production capacity. We could already produce enough ethanol, and we have the corn. So that's why corn growers have been pushing this for a number of years. And it was almost in that continuing resolution bill last fall, whenever it was, and it was in there. And for some reason, at the last minute, that provision was taken out. So we're back to trying to get a waiver each year again.
All right, we'll see what we can do about that. I got to go to break quick here, Jerry. We'll come back. I'm going to need you to go over the tariffs thing again. They're not done with this tariffs thing. We got to figure this thing out, good, bad, or indifferent, because it's all that makes the news. We'll talk about it with Jerry right after this on the Al Travis Show. It's the Al Travis Show. We've got him, farmer extraordinaire Jerry Groskreutz. Jerry, what I'm missing here
is you keep... Wait, Al, before we get to that, one more point about you saving your neighborhood when the
Yeah.
storm drains were plugged. You missed an opportunity. You should have gone to one of your pork producing neighbors and borrowed a pig, and you could test it
Oh.
out. Pig
See,
swimming right there in Blue Earth.
and this is
You
where
missed it.
you know people, Jerry. We need to find a pig guy who's forward thinking. I golf with a pig guy, but every time I come up with another $1 million idea for this guy, he poo poos it. I need some test pigs. Can you get them for me? We got to throw them in some water, see if they swim. I don't know if they know naturally how to swim, or you got to do some training. We need some test pigs for this idea, and I wonder if you know a guy.
Well, I could probably find a pig if you want to volunteer to go in the lake with a pig. Probably wouldn't cost you anything, Al.
Well, I think we start small. You see, there's people that have like those 4 and 5 foot tall swimming pools in their backyard. Yeah, we'll start there. I don't want to go right to a lake. I think we got to start and work up to it. But tricks, that sort of. Well, see, people don't listen all the time, Jerry. You have no idea what we're talking about. I have a friend who spent $150 swimming with pigs in Lake Jamaica. That's craziness, man. Crazy. You sit there and talk to farmers. I talked to a guy. He said, if I make $1.50 on a pig, I'm making money. You make $150 just having them swim the pig. That's 150 pigs worth of pigs.
They were doing it in Aruba when we were on the cruise too, but it was too windy that day. That must be the difference between tourists in Aruba or Jamaica and common sense Minnesotans.
You think it doesn't catch on as much over here as people drive by 1 million pigs at a time, then they get to the resort and say, I don't want to swim with you. All right, we'll work through the details. Let me ask you about the tariffs again, because I'm missing something. I love your take on this, but everyone else seems to have a different one. This is out of radio out of Chicago. The Democratic congressman's all upset about the tariffs. Obviously, President Minnesota Pork is emphasizing that all this tariff stuff makes everything go up and down, and no one can figure out what to do. But you, and tell me if I'm wrong, Jer, tell us that there's only so many corns, so many soybeans, so many pigs, and it's a world market anymore. So if one country says, I'm not going to buy from America, their tariffs are too high, they will go someplace else, and you will backfill that because people got to eat. Am I basically saying it right?
Yeah, it might increase the prices a little bit because if that third party in another country is doing the deal and working, they're probably going to want a piece of the action. Now, but when it comes to just basic corn and soybeans, there's only so much in the world, and that's more true. I'm a little bit more worried about my pork producing friends and turkey producing friends because maybe China says we aren't going to take any more of your pork. Well, we're just going to let our people go hungry. They're going to eat more, whatever. So I am a little worried about that. And that's going to come back to affect me because all the corn I raise and all the soybeans that I raise gets made into soybean meal to feed pigs.
So let me ask, let me do this, Jerry, if you would for me then. What has happened since the tariff thing was announced? I'm going to go a month ago. I don't know how long it's been. And the stock market has been going up and down like crazy. I get that. I have corn and bean prices and pork done the same crazy drop by 15% back up again. What's been happening with those prices?
Pork has seen a little bit more volatility. We had a fair amount of volatility in corn and beans, but I was just reading a market analyst earlier this week who was himself, he admitted, a little bit surprised that it hadn't had much of an impact on the price of corn or soybeans. It's right back now where it was, or a touch higher than where it was a month ago or a month and a half when we started talking about all the tariffs. And that kind of leads credence to what we were talking about. There's only so many bushels of corn and soybeans in the world, and the market has a way of working things out. Now, it might get a whole lot worse down the road, but I try and not worry about it too much because there's not a whole lot I'm going to do about it. I've got my target set, worked out with my market advisor on when hopefully we'll get some rallies and I'll get priced on some of the grain. And the rest is we're just sitting back and watching things go. But the one thing that I haven't done is taking a look at the 401k or my wife's individual retirement account.
Yeah, you don't want to look at that. One last topic before I let you go, Jerry. Just saw this from the morning take. In the Minnesota Senate, they've got a new bill coming out that should help, sorry, Jerry, older farmers like yourself. It allows farmers to pass down their farmland without a big tax hit. Only thing is you have to live within a short radius of the farm. Right now, I think it's one county. They're looking, it could be adjacent counties. How do I put this? That still doesn't seem fair. Your son or daughter happen to move to the Twin Cities because you're running the farm, and then you're getting old. You say, I want to give it up. They can't get your farm without a big tax hit because of where they live? I guess I'm missing something here.
I think that program, unless it's changed dramatically, say you're a farmer and you don't have any children or no heirs, really.
Yeah.
And so this would be a big tax break from the state of Minnesota to sell it to another younger farmer, and then you would get the tax break on your state income taxes.
There you go.
If you helped a younger farmer, gave him a break to help get started, because let's face it, to try and start farming nowadays, there's so many zeros behind those numbers that unless you've got the in with a family member. So I think this program was designed that Al did really well for himself, and he's got a nice farm, and he doesn't have any children or anybody wants to pass it to. So maybe you can sell it to a young guy, a neighbor that's trying to get started farming. You get a tax break from the state of Minnesota for doing that.
That's fair enough, Jerry. Hey, I'm completely out of time. I'm running up against it. I appreciate you coming on, my friend, as always, talking farming with us. I appreciate it.
And hopefully next week, the dust is flying.
No dust. Keep it nice and moist. The dust gets in my eyes when I golf. I don't like that. Jerry Groskreutz, farmer extraordinaire on the Al Travis Show. More after this.